Eastman Guitars has been making waves in recent years thanks to their undeniable passion for creating high quality yet obtainable instruments. Whether you're looking at their budget friendly models or their exquisite boutique line, one thing is for sure: these are not your regular made in China guitars. These are exquisite handcrafted instruments made right in Beijing. In 1992, after graduating from Boston University's School of Music, Qian Ni started a company importing and selling student grade classical string instruments. Examples of some of these instruments are violins, violas, or is it violas? I think it's violas, right? I don't know. Cellos, and even double basses. From what I gather, he would probably buy the instruments in bulk and then hand deliver them to music stores all around the US. Instead of chasing a quick buck, Chien Ni actually listened to his customers and the students of his customers. And what he heard was that, the instruments that were available were just not that good, and the good instruments were just not obtainable, because they were too expensive. Because let's be real for a second. Budget tier or beginner gear is just usually not that good. And that's not a jab at all. That's just reality. Companies have to use lesser quality materials to bring the price down for beginner tier gear. And it doesn't matter what you're talking about: violins, cameras, paintbrushes, guitars. Chances are, if you're beginning out in any creative field, the gear that you're using is probably lackluster. Hell, look at me. I'm still rocking a Squire Telly, like an Affinity, not even a classic vibe. Subscribe so I can get better guitars, please. Now, the thing that makes Eastman different from so many other guitar companies is that they didn't start with guitars. They started with violins. And so, as a music scholar trained in classical performance, Chien Ni was deeply familiar with the 17th and 18th century violin makers. The Cremonese school, the guild systems, everything that violin making and instrument making was back when it all started. So when he launched Eastman Guitars as a manufacturer, he modeled it after those systems and traditions. Small teams of highly skilled craftspeople, shaping necks, bending sides, carving tops, applying finishes. Yes, depending on the instrument, the process of building said instrument may be a little bit different, but a huge thing about Eastman Guitars, and Eastman as a company, is that they build their instruments by hand. And that's how they've been able to deliver true handcrafted quality instruments at a price that's kind of unheard of from most Western brands. Now, truth be told, their move into building guitars was kind of a happy accident. Nee was gifted a book on the construction of archtop guitars, and because he's a better person than I am, he actually read that book and was floored by the similarities between violins and guitars in the building process. Come to find out, Mr. C.F. Martin himself, yes, the man that pretty much invented the steel string guitar, actually had a hand in building violins back in the 1800s. It's this history of the luthiers and just the history of the guitar and the instrument building and the craftsmanship behind it all that it's what excites me about just the history of guitars and instruments. And I'm assuming it's that history and craftsmanship that inspired Nee to create his own beautiful guitars. It's a year into the new millennium, and Eastman is ready to unveil their first archtop guitar. And what better place to showcase it at than the biggest musical convention in the world? The National Association of Musical Merchants, or NAMM, which has been an ongoing convention out in Anaheim, California since, I believe, 1901. In all reality, depending on the reaction from revered guitarists such as Frank Vignola or John Pisano, who are like pretty famous jazz players, or respected luthiers such as Otto D'Ambrosio, I probably butchered that name, and the likes of Claudio Pagelli. Did I say that right? Probably not. And luckily, well, I'm sure luck had nothing to do with it. It was all drive and passion, but everybody absolutely loved Eastman's guitar. Now, according to a post I found from a Facebook link, this guitar right here is the first archtop guitar that Eastman ever produced. And it's actually the one that they showcased back at NAMM in 2002. Now, this picture is probably a little blurry just because I'm getting it off of Facebook, but you can see that the serial number is 001 and the model number is 800E. I just find the history of the guitars and the guitar makers behind those guitars just so interesting, and it's part of the reason why I love playing the guitar. Now, I'm not good at it really all that much. I love it. I love how it feels, and just, I don't know, just everything all put together is just, it's cool. It's really cool. So, over 2 decades later, and Eastman has a whole lineup of archtop guitars. I mean, you just go on their website and you can see all the different kind of models they have now, such as their high-end AR910CE or their lower-end AR372CE. Yeah, those names just roll right off the tongue. In the 1930s, the Great Depression just ravaged the economy, and it was about that time that legendary guitar builder C.F. Martin actually reintroduced the Dreadnought, a flat-top guitar now with 14 frets and the innovative X-bracing to handle the more tension from steel strings. Fast forward to 2008, which is the worst financial crisis that we've seen since the Great Depression, and Eastman was ready to unveil their first flat-top guitar. A nod to classics because these instruments are hand-built in the spirit of the golden age of guitar building. And okay, look, this is where the story kind of gets a little personal for me. Now, I didn't find out about Eastman from their violins or archtop guitars. I didn't hear about them from NAMM. I've actually never been able to go to NAMM, so, I found out about Eastman when I picked up this little guy here, the E10M. Technically a triple O and not an OM because the scale length is 24.9 inches, but I digress. All solid woods, elegant tortoise binding, and a solid Sitka spruce top. This guitar, it just oozes that tradition, right? And it only cost me $630. Now, I get it. Almost $700, that's not just, chump change. That's not chump change to me. But to get an all solid, beautifully handcrafted guitar for less than $1,000 that's not unheard of, but it is more and more rare. Now, this guitar introduced me to Eastman, and honestly, it's kind of killed all the other budget guitars out there for me. Now, I'm not a fucking walk-in Eastman ad, but I know it sounds like that, but just, I've played a lot of budget guitars. Yamaha, Recording King, Epiphone. I haven't felt the way that I did when I played this one for the first time. And it's not even just this model. This is like the bottom of the barrel when it comes to Eastman. This is one of their cheapest models. And it's not just this one. All of their guitars are made this way. Hand-built with care, passion. I mean, they care about it all, right? The tone woods. And they also care about making instruments accessible to people either beginning or just making instruments accessible at a lower price. But for less than $700 and you get a beautiful guitar like this, I don't know. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but this Eastman is just great. Now, let's actually talk about some other flat top acoustics that Eastman has in their catalog. Now, Eastman actually splits up their acoustic guitars into two different sections, the AC series and the traditional series. Now, the AC series takes a more modern approach to guitar building. They often come with cutaways, onboard electronics, maybe sleeker neck profiles. Just take a look at the AC 722CE. But just one look at this guitar and you can see the modern innovations that have been added to it. Now, Eastman's traditional series like my E10M or the E6D or E20OM, they are built with the old school philosophy. Dovetail neck joints, vintage inspired appointments, all solid wood. They look like those guitars from the 30s and 40s, right? They don't come with pickups, anything fancy like that. And actually, Eastman stopped shooting nitrocellulose finishes on their guitars, and they switched over to what they call Truetone, which is a formula that was developed by Dana Bourgeois, and he let Eastman actually adopt it as well. So it kind of gives you that same resonance as the nitro finishes, but it's way, way less toxic. If you didn't know, nitro finishes are like super toxic, especially for the people that are applying them. So you get the traditional tone with more of a modern conscience. Every time I pick up this guitar, I'm reminded why I love Eastman. There's just something special about the way that they build guitars, and to see such craftsmanship and quality on guitars that are, less than $1,000 is just really nice to see. But I can, without a doubt, say that this is not the last Eastman I'll buy. Now, disclaimer here, this is not an ad. This is, I know it sounds like I'm a fucking walking ad for Eastman, but it genuinely, I just love this guitar that I have, the E1OM, and I'm excited to get one of their more higher end models. So, if you've never played an Eastman, do yourself a favor, go find one and try it out. Because you may end up like me, wondering why not more people are talking about them. Thanks for watching, and if you got this far, I genuinely appreciate it. If you do dig guitars or stories about guitars, consider subscribing because I've got a lot more videos on gear, builders, and the stories behind the sound. Alright, now I'm going to leave you with this short little bit of me trying to make this guitar sound good. Hopefully you enjoy it. Alright, see you next time.